This font has been banned from schools, mocked by designers, and still it's a global icon. Hi, my name is Zachary. I'm a designer here at Atarim, and yep, we're talking about Comic Sans because the story behind it is interesting to say the least. Let's jump in. So the saga begins in 1994 when designer Vincent Connare was working on an interface called Microsoft Bob, and Bob was designed to make computers way less intimidating by turning the experience into a virtual house, where each room kind of represented a task. For example, the living room would be for email and the office would be for word processing. This adorable dog is Rover, and he was the mascot of the interface, so when Vincent saw him talking in this stiff Times New Roman voice, he thought it was ridiculous because it didn't fit the fun and inviting vibe he was going for. So what he did was he looked at comic books for inspiration. But there's some bad news. Vincent couldn't start working on Comic Sans until October of that year, and by the time he finished, well, Microsoft Bob was already in the late stages of production and it couldn't be included. This is because Microsoft Bob was designed around the very specific pixel measurements of Times New Roman. This next part is kind of funny. So instead of dying like a lot of people would have preferred, Comic Sans was still on their internal servers, and the employees started to use it on their internal memos, birthday cards, flyers, and it kind of became a cult hit before it ever hit the public. They packed it with Windows 95 and it exploded in popularity and ended up on everyone else's birthday cards, flyers, and dare I say it, hospital signs. And if you're wondering what happened to Microsoft Bob, it flopped. For two reasons. If people wanted an easier interface, they just bought Macs, and it was kind of expensive. This is where the story kind of starts to fly off the rails, because if you think you know someone who hates Comic Sans, think again, because these two people really hate Comic Sans. Let me introduce you to Dave and Holly Combs because they led a movement to ban it. They argued that Comic Sans had ruined the integrity of design and had no business being on things like hospital signs, which I agree with, and that's where a lot of the hate from everyone came from, was the rapid misuse of the font. Here's a few hilarious examples. Just in case you thought I was joking about the hospital sign thing, here is living proof of it. Here it is on a sign about preventing tragedies. Here is Dr. Phil using it to explain a list of traumas. And lastly, here it is on a memorial. I think you get the point, and here's a real quote by Holly Combs. I think it's irresponsible to let Comic Sans out there in the world all rogue where just anyone can use it. Their mutual hate for Comic Sans brought them together, and they did what every other newly wedded couple does. They launched a merch store. Check some of this stuff out. Could you picture yourself in the kitchen wearing this bad boy? And it's only $23. A lot of the merch is pretty basic, but I actually really like this shirt right here. $25. Oh, you can pick the color too. They also have merch for kids and babies. Like, could you imagine your toddler wearing a I hate Comic Sans hat? Comic Sans actually gets a little bit of a redemption. It's highly legible, and people with dyslexia love it because of how easy it is to read. This is because Comic Sans has fewer mirrored glyphs, so letters like B, D, P, and Q all have unique shapes rather than being mirrored versions of each other. The more you know. So where are you at with Comic Sans? Let me know in the comments. Are you team ban? Are you team fan? I'd love to know. I'm kind of indifferent. I mostly just use it to mess with our lead designer. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out my playlist, Life of a Fellow Designer, because I break down so many weird stories like this and more. My name is Zachary Mims, and I'll catch you in the next one.